This is Laura Feldman of the Willamette Speaks Oral History Project. It's September 10th, 2014 at 6:33 p.m. and I'm interviewing Fritz Drinkhan, also known as Fritz. He lives at 9460 North Tioga Avenue. He is originally from Eureka, South Dakota. His birth date is April 5th, 1932. He's retired and he has lived near the river for 68 years. So Fritz, I'd like to know a little bit about what it was like growing up on the Willamette River. You had some wonderful stories.
Well, it was exciting because we were kids and we didn't have that kind of stuff back where I came from in Dakotas. That was all farmland, and we had too far away to go to the Missouri River. It was like 80 some odd miles away, and my dad wouldn't take, we never saw the river. So, you know, here, this was a whole new experience for me, and being on the river, playing, you know, we built rafts, and then I finally bought a boat before I got married. That was the first one. And then we had more fun because then we started water skiing. We were one of the first ones to ski down here by Kelly Point.
What year was it? Do you remember? What year?
Pardon me?
What year, approximately?
Oh, well, let's see, we got married in what, 58? So I'd say about 55, 56, right in there area. Because my boat was a 57 new and the motor was a year old, 56, my first boat. And that's what we did, we water skied.
You said you would water ski from the falls, the Willamette Falls?
No, from Milwaukee, it's back this way.
Oh.
It's back this way from Milwaukee. It's the other side of Selwood.
Okay. All the way to...
clear to the St. John's Bridge and dropped off because I had my boat moored down in the channel. And at that time it was at Fred's Marina. And then I later went to Larson's.
Mm-hmm.
But that's after I got the other boat. Yeah.
And you said that at that time Kelly Point was, it was covered in water. Is that what you said?
Pardon me?
Kelly Point Park was submerged.
Oh yeah. Kelly Point Park wasn't even built there yet.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there was an old house that was on stilts facing the river. That was a guy that was like a watchdog, or what's them guys that are in the lighthouses?
Mm.
You know, because that's where the river turned, and it got foggy. You missed that real easy.
Mm-hmm.
And we played in that. Of course, by that time it was abandoned, so the only way you could get there was by boat. We spent a lot of hours down there at Kelly Point on the beach before anybody else could get in, other than people that came with boats, like on Saturday and Sunday. I remember one man, he was president of the U.S. National Bank in St. John's, and I bought my boat through, and he was down there all the time on Sunday afternoons, and he used to kid me, "Fritz, when are you going to buy another boat?" They wanted my payments, because the boat was paid for already by that time. And
did you fish?
We fished, oh yeah.
And you ate the fish?
Oh yeah, we fished. I never caught anything. Well, I did too. I caught one little tiny jack salmon. That was years ago. I never had any luck with the big ones though, with the Chinooks. I used to take people out in the boat and they would catch fish, but I wouldn't. My name wasn't there, I guess. And I lost one pair of glasses in the river, So little Charlie's probably swimming around with my glasses on. And then I lost my first lower teeth in the river.
There are a lot of parts of you in that river.
Yes, there is. Luckily, I didn't lose any fingers or arms or anything. I did that after I retired and came home.
You said that there was sewage that came into the river. Was this in Milwaukee or?
No, come right down here from out of the slough.
And it didn't stop you from swimming and playing in the slough?
Well, you fell in. You fell in to drink. You just had to swim, you know, back on shore. No, the slough down here went all the way up to the airport. But you could take it all the way down to the mouth of the river. And it dumped into the Willamette just before you get to the Columbia. But all of the sewage, it all went down through there, yeah. You know, with the tides. You had the high tide and the low tide. And that came right past the old St. John's landfill. And that's what's going to happen. That water is seeping through into the landfill, and it's all floating. That whole area is floating on top of water, really, because it was all filled in. What lake is now called Bybee Lake used to be called Smith Lake, and that was when the Van Ford flood. They broke the dike on the railroad and came across North Portland Road. And that's what formed that lake. And the only time it got fresh water is when the high tides came, like during the spring runoff. That's when all the water came up. That's before they got the floodgates at the dam to control that. But that's how we used to get fresh water in there. So, and we used to swim in that one.
Where was that again? The place where you swam with the fresh water was Bybee Lake.
Yeah.
The sewer at that time, did it go into the main channel here?
Pardon me?
Did the sewage go into the main channel here as well? Didn't it?
Yeah. Well, now the other one's down further toward town. There's one there, and then there's another one further on down below that. But this one here usually got the north area that dumped into this one. And there's a long, in fact, that pipe is probably still there. It's a long concrete pipe. And it stayed above the water until it got flooded. And then the next time it would go down, and we could walk across the top of that. And we went into this, well, it wasn't not an island, but the slough was on one side and the high water was over on this side. But they all came down and met down below and then went down below that.
Did you see a lot of wildlife at that time?
Oh, not really. Not really, you know. We didn't see the deer or anything like that. Coyotes. You didn't see anything like that during our time playing, you know. Of course, we probably made enough noise to scare them off. But we saw pheasants. We saw a lot of geese and duck that were in there. And that's where most of them are landing now, is over there in the lake. And they had to go over to Sophie's Island to do any hunting. And I did a lot of that.
When you think about the Superfund cleanup, what advice would you have for you know, the community in terms of cleaning that river up? What should we be doing?
What you should be doing? Well, if they want to clean it up, they ought to pull some of the old pilings that are down there. They look ugly. And that's where they used to tie up all the log rafts. You know, of course, at that time we had all the mills around, you know. Now we don't have that. We don't have any log rafts or anything. And here's these old ugly pilings sticking up.
Yep.
And I don't know. maybe it's too expensive, but you know, by now it should be so rotten that it would just snap off, you know.
Right.
I don't know. They talk about cleanup, you know, but what's there to clean up if they don't take the pilings out of the river?
That's so interesting. I haven't heard anybody mention the pilings before. I know there are a lot of toxics in the river, but I don't know.
Well, you know, and then we had the shipyards down below, down there. And we got Schnitzer's is right next door where the shipyard used to be. And the ships come in there in the slip, and that's where they load all the scrap iron into the ships down at there. Mm-hmm. And then we have Terminal 4 where the grain elevators are. And they were making so much dust when the ships came in to load that people complained about it, and so now it's taking it all up to Washington, up to Kalmar, you know.
Kelso?
Yeah, that Kalmar. It's up by Longview.
Kalama.
That's where they're loading the grain now, mostly.
Mm. Well, it sounds like you've had a long history with this river.
Well, I spent a lot of time on it.
Do you still go down there?
Pardon me?
Do you still go down there
to
the river?
Now that I don't have a boat anymore, I don't, no. Mm-hmm. I haven't been on the river for quite a few years already.
Mm-hmm. But I bet there are lots of memories when you go over that bridge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We walked across that bridge a lot of times and camped up in the hills up there.
Really?
When we were kids.
Wow.
And this is back in the day, we didn't even have bicycles. We walked. Everywhere we went, we walked. Yeah. About all I can tell you about the river. I don't know that much about the history of it. I just know my own experiences that I had on the river.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think you've had a long and deep relationship with that river, it sounds like.
And you know, this lower part here is the widest of the river. Mm-hmm. Oh, I would say from Time Oil, from there all the way up to almost to the mouth. That's all the whitest part of the river. Mm-hmm. And in fact, there's one area over there we used to call it. Had a grass bottom in there. We used to fish around that a lot because that's where the fish hung out. Bill over there would know. I'd have to ask him again. He's another one. He lives on that river.
Bill?
Bill, yeah.
Bill Egan?
No. Guy across the street over there, Bill Hensley.
Okay. Well, we'll try to get some stories from him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he can tell you a lot of stories on it. But
wonderful.
Be prepared. He swears a lot. Oh, yeah, man.
Well,
be careful.
I want to thank you so much for these stories today, and
There wasn't much of a story.
well, we might come back.
I
just
just-
scratching the surface.
I just wish we would have had the cameras back in them days that I could have
Yes.
taken pictures of the way it used to be.
Yes. Well, this is at least this part of the story will continue on. Mm-hmm. So we're going to conclude this interview at 6:50 p.m. and thank you, Fritz.
You're welcome. Yep. I went through all my albums. Look, I found only one little picture